So, recently, it comes to my attention that there is a real issue with Fireteam. Having a brain dead FTL is so annoying! Today we're going to try and fix that again. The first part of removing brain dead attitudes is to make sure we have the right people playing the FTL role. That means asking yourself, do I know what I'm doing? And, will I actually communicate? If you answered yes, then keep watching. If you answered no, then maybe you go watch my quick start guide and try again later. I should probably point out before we go any further that I'm going to be going quite quickly and we'll be presuming you have a basic understanding of the game overall. Probably the thing that annoys me and everyone else the most is when an FTL does not place rallies or decides to place them in the middle of a field. Like, that's a good idea. So in other words, make sure you're placing your rallies as you progress through the objectives, and I recommend to not be too risky with rally placements and keep a distance from the fighting with it, as it is otherwise quite likely to get destroyed. To place a rally, hold down middle mouse button to access the command wheel, then release it when your cursor is over the rally point button. To be able to place a rally, you need to be an FTL of course, and you also need to be with 20 studs of a Fireteam member. Communication includes two main things you need to be doing. Number one is using chat to let your team and Fireteam know what you're doing, and markers which should be used to let your Fireteam know what to do. Generally, the markers are pretty self-explanatory, but if you plan on using a marker for something a little bit different, just let your Fireteam know in chat. I'm not great at this, but what you should be doing is not be too bothered by correcting small grammar mistakes. It's just easier to send the message letting them know sooner, and I'm sure your teammates will still understand it. When you go into a new match, try and formulate some sort of plan to tell your Fireteam and your team what you are doing. It will instill some confidence in your Fireteam that you do know what you're doing, and also tell them roughly where to go. Just be prepared for the plan to change drastically as the game goes on. When I asked Colin, one of the devs, what he wanted me to include in the guide, the one point he made was, be the change you want to see in the world. Enlightening, I know, but while sounding a little dramatic, what he's saying is if, for example, no one is defending your objective, go defend it. You must work with your team instead of treating them as a different team, even if it means running for 15 minutes straight. Instead of going through it all again, I'm going to cheat a little by telling you to go watch the first part of my Everything New in version 0.2 video, as I cover it pretty well there. I could rant about this for hours, but the main thing is remember you're not the only one with explosives, so keep spaced out. People like your medic need to be able to reach your other Fireteam members to heal and revive, and specialists need to be able to reach Riflemen for ammo, etc. So make sure they're not too far apart. Speaking of explosives, you do have a few different roles in the Fireteam, and depending on which Fireteam you choose, it will vary. Instead of trying to explain it myself, there are some brief explanations from Canuck in the description. I will probably be watching this in a few days or weeks, and think of something I forgot, but that just means you're going to have to fill gaps using your own judgment and patience. Thanks very much for watching and helping on removing brain dead Fireteam leaders. Goodbye.